I didn't see what y'all was doing.
Wait a minute, Yvonne looks particularly good today too.
Yeah, where were you coming from, Yvonne?
What's going on?
I was coming from.
You must know Qantas in Chicago.
Church. You look like you just came from church.
Stop by 12. Stop by.
No. Do not say my address.
I caught myself.
Wow, Mally.
I had a rough morning. I had a rough past couple of days, actually. So I washed it off. And, I showed up a little different, that's all.
Wash it up. Who got that
You
static
showed
noise?
up a lot different.
Stop me from the pervert.
You was cute before.
I know, but
That's different.
This is really cute today.
Yeah, you look radiant today.
Oh, thank you.
There's some parenting going on.
Mm-hmm.
There's some parenting going on. I got to be straight. I have to look good in order to do it because I'm gonna say some hard stuff today. I know I am.
Do like a hard message from a pretty face.
That's it. And I might tell some jokes while I do it and I'm sexy. Mm-hmm.
Somebody got bad static in
you
their mic.
You need more than a hard message.
Renita can't hear nothing.
One of y'all got static in your mics.
Is it me?
Is it me?
I don't know, but it irritates me. But I'll have to bear with it. It's too late now because we're already live. All right. Welcome, everybody. Today's episode is on parenting. Everything good with you, Nadi, Renita, Yvonne, Cass, and DJ Qantas? I'm trying this new voice. I don't like it.
What?
Everything good with y'all?
I was trying to see if I got static.
You probably are. It's always you. It's typically my dad. He do stuff that had like 27 wires in it. The art of simplicity stops stuff like that from happening. So it is what it is. But let's get into it. We'll start with can you hear yet, Renita? Renita is driving somewhere trying to get coffee.
Renita is on the road.
She always on the go.
Yeah, I'm gonna temporarily mute Renita and then we'll talk to her. Let's do it to the icebreaker. All right, Yvonne, since you was the first one in, describe your ideal parent? What is an ideal parent in your mind?
An ideal parenting situation for me is a two-way street. And here's why I say this. I now allow my children to talk to me different, meaning they get to tell me what mood they're in. And I try and dissolve it as best I can, but I also get the opportunity to say what mood I'm in, so they get to understand how I'm feeling and what perspective I'm coming from. So a two-way street is like, that's like where I like to call it.
Oh, okay. Nadi?
Me,
the ideal parent. Like, what's the perfect parent?
The ideal parenting situation, a parent. The ideal parenting situation for me is not being a parent. I'm just that's what's happening in my life, so I can't speak to that.
Not for you specifically. What is it like? What you would want your parent?
Like that's.
What would you want your parent to be? It doesn't have to be you specifically. What do you want a parent to? What should a parent look like? What is the idea?
I guess the biggest thing is like adapting and going with the flow. Parents who can't do that don't really seem to comfortably manage the fact that children are human and unpredictable. Like life is as unpredictable as humans are. So being able to move and adapt to the needs of your child as they change.
Okay.
I accept her definition.
See, I know something about parenting.
Okay, I work with kids. Same question, Renita. What would be the ideal parent for you?
My mother. Give the kid to your mother.
For a grandparent.
No.
It works like a mug. I used to be like, how could they just leave their kid until I had a kid? And I was like, oh, that's how you do it. They know so much.
Already they know.
I'm like, hello. Yeah, that would be it.
I see some interesting scenarios with a lot of people that do that. The grandchild call them mom. It's real weird.
Yep, that's what happened to me. Mm-hmm.
Your grandkids call you mom,
and I call my grandmother mom.
That's weird. That was just so weird to me. I seen it happen. I was like,
yeah, and I call my grandma. I call my grandma mom, and I call my mother what? Edie.
Don't tell her real name.
Yeah.
I call her by her name.
Did Drew call you? What did Drew call you, mom? What?
Yeah.
Did he call?
That's interesting.
What did he call Edie?
Grandma.
Oh, but you leave him with him. But okay, that one turned out a little different. All right, Cass. What's that? What? Hey, Cass. What's the ideal parent? What's the ideal parent to you?
I think an ideal parent for me is acknowledging that the child is a whole person, like respecting that they are a person with their own identity and their own ideals, and that they come from you, but they are not you, and like respecting their autonomy, but also trying to show them guidance. Not as if you like, I think I see a lot of parents, that's like, even with like just in relationships in general, there's a lot of possessive words used over relationships and children. That's my child, that's my spouse, but allowing them to have their particular autonomy, but also try to help shape them on the right path that they need to be within a controlled environment.
Okay.
I accept that definition.
She's gonna accept every definition. Go ahead, Dad.
I like that.
I'm just saying, because parenting is a multiple thing.
What is an ideal parent for you? Not you as a parent, or not necessarily your parent. What would have been the perfect parent to you?
One that nurtures,
mm-hmm.
One that sees my needs, and one that wants me.
Who's calling me? I swear.
Oh, this is your brother, because it's coming on my phone too.
What is he retarded? Okay, I'm sorry.
See,
I made me use the word.
Let me get rid of the. Now, I'm about to give you the ideal situation. Yes, son. Okay, he hung up.
God damn, he know I told him the other day.
He ain't even watching the show. And you want this is conscious cue? He unconscious. This doesn't even make no sense. He's BQ.
He was supposed to come on. He probably was calling for the link.
Oh, maybe he's trying to come on.
Calling for the link.
Fuck you, Grant.
Y'all let everybody don't be.
Let him on.
It's 2:30. No.
He was calling,
but you let everybody else.
I asked him for a list. I was gonna make him a background and everything when we talked on the phone. I don't fuck with niggas like that. You don't understand. I hate that shit more than anything. Don't even get me started on that shit. It's already bad enough dealing with basic tardiness. That's a whole nother motherfucker.
The ideal parent is I'm getting ready to call my son.
I feel like this brings up a parenting thing that I feel like is worth mentioning.
Go ahead, mention it.
I think some people really struggle with giving a very direct, no, I'm not going to do that. And it leads to situations where you're like, oh, you said you were going to do this. And now it's 2:30 and we haven't ever talked about it. And I'm noticing with myself that comes from people in my life as an adolescent, or especially my parents, just never acknowledging autonomy for me, never giving me like the ability to make decisions for myself.
No, I'm trying to call Beachy back.
Hang that shit up. You ringing me now. God damn.
He's ringing everybody, including my phone.
Y'all fucking autistic ass ways.
Put your phone on Do Not Disturb. That's what I always do. I'm on Do Not Disturb.
Respect my fucking autonomy and don't call me. Shit.
I put my stuff on Do Not Disturb when I go.
I can't stand that shit. I am a very punctual person. I don't play that kind of shit. Like,
no, I said put it on Do Not Disturb so you don't disturb the panel.
Put all that shit. No.
Okay. Did anybody else get a crank call from Grant?
Yeah.
Again, put your phone.
Dude, I'm old.
Cause he's slow. He called himself trying to call my brother.
Over and on the Zoom and all that bullshit. And then he gonna say, I'm trying to call him. Look, I'm playing on the phone. I almost lost the call.
Put your phone on do
No.
not
I
disturb.
just see, and you see how easy. This is why I don't do stuff late and untardy and all of that stuff like that because now who the fuck got me playing in the background? Turn your phone down. Whoever got the other shit playing. Grant.
Renita got you to the car speakers.
Renita,
I ain't got nothing playing. I don't have nothing playing. Y'all on my speakerphone. I have no music playing.
We're getting echo.
Oh, for real? Hold on. Cut this off.
Cause your ass gotta go run and get a coffee at 2:30.
My hair matches your shirt.
See, I can't deal with y'all niggas today. Y'all niggas is niggas.
We coordinated.
We are.
Okay. Since Quantas answer whatever you want to.
I'm about to beat my child right now. My child is acting a fool, and she about to get it.
I love her.
Oh my
I want to babysit her.
Y'all gonna have to get it together. Pull it together, Renita. Take your medicine. Let's get back on track. All right.
Oh my God.
Okay.
He said, take your medicine.
Take
Stop.
your medicine.
Your daddy playing on the phone.
That's
I know.
You don't. She should have had a
let's
coffee
get back
already.
into it. All right, whatever.
And y'all interrupted my answer as usual.
Go. You interrupted your answer with letting your son interrupt you. He didn't want to hear that shit. Go ahead. Perfect parent, Grant. Finish your answer.
That's no perfect parent. Go to the next question.
I can't stand him. He does this shit all
I agree
the time.
with that.
You won't let me talk, but then we let him talk. I don't know what I was gonna say anyway. Okay, fine. Let's keep it moving. We'll go with you, Yvonne. Which one is more important, emotional support or financial support of a child?
I have to choose.
Yep.
Emotional support.
Emotional support.
Yeah.
Why?
You want an explanation, or you just want me to leave it at that?
I want an explanation.
Okay. The reason why I say emotional support is financial situations can go up or down, just like your emotions can, right? But if you can walk on top of your emotions, meaning if you can control yourself, your financial situation should write itself out. Even if you're poor, how do I know? I have to get emotionally stable first. And so now my financial situation is going to be better because I think about my financial situation differently. I know I can do it now. So your mindset has to change, and emotional intelligence is very important to me. And that's why I said that first.
Okay. Renita?
I would say it would be emotional as well. Like you said, the finances change. They come and go. But, oh, man, without money, without a stable, without a stable home for a child, without money, that can mess up your mental altogether. All these children keep bouncing from house to house to house to house. This was a hard question. I'm sorry.
I'm going.
This is a very hard question. You need money. You need money in order to stop some of the emotional hurt. I don't know. Yeah,
it's a nuanced question, right? Yeah,
that's a tough question.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the challenges of being a parent. Like, do you focus on what?
Because you know why? Because just a little scenario. Okay, like if I was in school and I was flunking something in grammar school, and our parents were taught to beat the shit out of us. You think you could beat math into my ass? You're right.
You're not lying.
No, for real.
You're not lying.
Nowadays, with money, we go get tutors.
Mm-hmm.
Before, wasn't nobody offering us no tutor. My mom thought she could beat the English into. So that's sort of, yeah. If I would have had her emotional support then, like, hey, this chick is gonna speak Ebonics for the rest of her fucking life. And for her to come to grips with that and accept it, as me as a whole, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, it's a tough question.
Okay, Cass.
I would say emotional support. I think that
because you're an emotional creature.
Yeah, but I think you know what? I take that back. I say financial, because if you can support me financial, what you can't give me as a parent, I can get from somebody else in therapy or because I think that sometimes there's things that I can't get from my mom or my dad, even though they have all the best well intentions. This is some things that they don't have the skill set for. And there's things that I'm not going to be able to receive from them that I'd be able to receive from somebody else. So I say financial instead of emotional.
Nadi, you're muted. What did she say? I don't know.
I've seen a lot of people work through financial situations by way of emotional support, but also seen emotional support deteriorate because of a financial situation. So I've never been wealthy enough to know what that would be like, to be fully like constantly secure, but I've also never experienced instability, and I've seen like people really lose themselves from just like never having anything.
Right, that's stability.
Yeah, it's some kind of balance between that, because you got parents that like imagine being a child of a person that's like a I don't know, like a trial lawyer that probably works 14-hour days, right? They can shoot all the money up in the house all they want in the household. I guess if it's a 2-parent household, it might work, right? Because you got one parent there for all the emotional stuff. Maybe that works. But what if you really want that dad or that mom that's working all the time to be around and support you emotionally? So I guess it gets complicated. It's probably some kind of happy medium between the two. I'm not sure.
You know what I would have liked as a kid though, because you just said something that stuck out. You said like one parent doing the emotional stuff and the other one.
Yeah, give me a receipt.
Being, I guess, a provider, and I feel like that's something we all cling to. But people I've seen who've had both of their parents emotionally supporting them are significantly like more confident in the world. And I think a lot of people are missing that. I want like more people to get into both parents having emotional intelligence and also being a disciplinarian if that's what you feel your child needs. But I think that's something that like keeps getting divorced for people. It's just, it sucks to have one parent that never emotionally engages with you.
Yeah.
Because I raised 6 children. I raised 6 children primarily being a single parent. And financially, it was difficult. And it is still difficult because now I'm undoing the harm that I did not being an emotional support parent, because, financially, our situation really hasn't changed much, but the mindset has. And once the mindset has started changing, the money is coming. It's almost like we can't stop it from coming, because now the emotional support is there. You don't easily get into your feelings about different situations. You're able to process how you feel about yourself and how others feel about you. Because when you can focus on what you want to do, nothing else matters, in my opinion, because that's what we've been doing here in my household. My children the oldest will be 32 this year and the youngest will be 21. So that's a range of people that I've seen move through a system very difficultly, but they were able to do it because they had emotional support.
I think I'm a big fan of It Takes a Village.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I think so much pressure. Like when I remember I looked at my birth certificate and I saw how old my parents were when they had me. And I was like, at that time, I was like, damn, I'm 34. I don't got no kids. I'm about to be divorced. And by the time my parents were in their 30s, they done had 5 kids and all this other stuff. And I think that there's a lot of pressure put onto parents today on having to be everything and anything for their children, when that is just not feasible. They're human beings too. I think one of the biggest things for me to learn as an adult and as a child to my parent was that my mom and my dad are human. And when I learned that they're just human beings, just like me, with problems, with mental health issues, with stress, with all these things, I began to look at them differently and treat them differently. I think I had heard this person talk about all this talk about gentle parenting. And she was like, it should just be called parenting, but we call it gentle parenting because we've gotten so used to the aggressiveness behavior. And when you think about it, when you're frustrated as a person and you don't know what else to do, your gut reaction is to lash out. It's to scream. It's to hit because you physically, mentally have no idea what else to do. And you've been told that you have to do this alone, even if there are two parents, that even if the dad's at home and the mother's at home keeping the house clean, and you go from the stereotypical gender norms when it comes to having a household. And I don't know, as a gay person, I've been asked a lot, like, I was like, well, if I have a kid, I'd probably be a single parent. And they're like, well, how are you going to raise your kid? I was like, I'd have a village around me. I'd have my friends. I'd have these people, because again, there's things that there are just tools that I don't have. Right. That I can't teach my child, or I can't teach my animal, that maybe an uncle or a friend can impart into them. And I think that is the most important thing, is recognizing everyone's autonomy and recognizing that everyone is human and has flaws, and is growing on this level of maturity, and they're not superheroes. That was the biggest lesson that I learned about my parents, especially my mom, because you would have thought she was a superhero, and learning that she's just a human being, just like me and you, that really changed my perspective on a lot.
Okay, Qantas, being a father of multiple children, like, how do you approach parenting? Like, is it like a one size fits all, or is it case by case? How do you, like, is it one rule that got to apply to all of them, or do you, like, this kid is this way and that kid is that way? How do you even approach that, being a father of 10 different kids?
It's definitely case by case. As to the question I didn't get a chance to answer,
this is enough feedback.
No, because according to the Circuit Court of Cook County, financial support is the most important. Y'all talk all that emotional support. Then y'all need to write a letter to all of those circuit courts and tell them, because them niggas is still taking money from me.
Your kids in nursing homes, they still getting their money.
Maybe bad. If emotional support's the best.
You got a kid that broke 40.
Me and Qantas agreed on something, because I said financial too.
I'm with him too.
Absolutely.
I absolutely agree with
Oh, wait, all the men say financial, all the women say.
Yeah, because the women, for most of y'all, don't got to pay that.
But I did pay it.
She just
if it was a priority.
I did pay it. I put children through college too. I'm still paying for it.
Yeah, you are, baby. I can't.
Okay.
No, I don't need. No, I say financial, like, kind of. Cass had hit the nail on the head. It's like financial support can buy the therapist and or the tutor, like Renita said, or things to that nature. No money at all. It's like, hey, nigga, let's love each other broken.
The emotional support has an expiration. As to the other question you asked me, it's different with all kids. Emotional support, for the most part, is while they're little. Exactly. Because when kids become teenagers, I can't support them emotionally because they're crazy. They're all over the place.
I believe him.
I'm with him. I hate teenagers too. I can't stand
it. It was hard. It was definitely hard.
Yo, up, down. One day they want to play football. One day they want to be a ballerina. One day they want to. How you gonna support this?
I don't know how you gonna have an attitude as a teenager and be musty at the same time. It just
No.
Too much hormonal stuff going on. Choose a struggle.
They beautiful and innocent until they get thrown into that damn education system, which I'm gonna
I know somebody in my family. They was emotionally supporting their kid. The boy wanted to play football. You know, he was really feeling it. So he had the financial, because of emotional support, he had to financially support buying equipment, getting the insurance. This Negro quit the next day.
I know you're talking about stuff.
You know, The man was out of $800. My brother was out of $800.
Now you tell him who it is. Shush.
The brother was out of $800.
Okay, that's fair.
So I financially support you, but because you broke me, I ain't even emotionally support you no more. I'm done.
But that's the thing, right? That's you holding. You can hold somebody accountable for that. You can hold a child accountable for that.
That's true too. But like, okay, this gets to the case by case thing because I've seen parents be like, I ain't buying. The next kid might actually want to go through with the football shit, and they just like, your other brother fucked it up for you. Fuck all y'all. Go find your own money. Like, so
that
I'm just saying.
Happen.
That's what I'm saying. Is it a case by case? Do you really honestly look at the next kid like you not so scorned from the kid before them, like, or do you hold all that shit that the first kid did? You got to pay for the other kids got to pay for the sins of the kids before them.
Yeah, well, once you have, you got to have a bunch of them to figure that out. By the time you have the first couple of them, you figure out. I feel sorry for people that only got one or two kids because it's hard to figure out. You got the one kid, and you realize kids is crazy. And they come in different personalities, so you got to adapt to each one of them. And, then don't get a fruitcake. Then you're really gonna be like, oh man, what am I gonna do? How can I support it?
What'd you say? You feel bad for your sister?
Oh man, my sister got the double whammy, man. Even she got all kind. She got a plethora of issues going on.
Leave siblings alone.
I mean, you talk about the art of psychology. You need to study my family. So you need to study. We got every case imaginable in this family.
I'm ready.
Yeah, you're gonna come with me. I see why Qantas is like this. Oh man, we got everything, every possible. We might have a serial killer too coming.
Stop it! Stop it!
We don't even put that in the atmosphere.
I ain't even religious, and I'm finna rebuke that one. I'm rebuking
rebuke it.
I'm rebuking that. I ain't even religious. I'm gonna rebuke that one.
I've read some stuff about like children who are emotionally abandoned, really like not having their connection to empathy. And just like manipulating everything because that's the only way they know how to operate in the world.
Did you have to read that? I just watched Criminal Minds and see that, man.
Yeah, I got a relative. I seen this kid, this nigga manipulate the mom against the dad and make sure they stay in term because they in separate homes. Make sure the motherfuckers been fighting their whole lives against each other. And I be telling them, I be like, yo, man, this kid is playing y'all. And they just fighting each other. I'm like, fuck this dumbass kid.
I call them bad seed kids.
They barely know him.
Those are bad.
I could read that shit right away because I've seen so many kids.
But again, I think that comes from the mentality that parents are the sole responsible person for this child's life, going back to not respecting the autonomy and also acting like you know all the answers when you don't and being ashamed to ask for help. I've seen parents just, they blatantly need your help, but they refuse to ask for it because of the idea, this is my child and ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do or ain't nobody gonna help me do something that I am supposed to do. And when we can get out of that mentality,
fear, dude.
Yeah, and people don't realize how smart kids are too. Like they can tell that the two parents already got issues with each other and they gonna exploit the shit out of it to their advantage.
You know what, moderated? You know what I've learned over the years? Send them back.
Send them back? What do you mean?
Sometimes you get a bad car, you get a bad computer. Sometimes you get a bad kid. That's why they got the orphanage. Send them jokers back, man.
Put them back in the womb.
No,
that's what I thought you was talking about. Putting them back in there.
Adoption. That's
why you put your child up for adoption.
Yeah, get rid of them.
No, the system won't let the gay people adopt them. We want to adopt them. The
devil is alive. Boy,
they won't let gay people adopt kids. And
they let y'all adopt them.
We let y'all have all the equal rights of being just as fucking miserable as we are. You can get married and you can adopt
There are
just
certain states, and I think my state is one of them.
The rest of us.
It's really difficult for gay parents, for gay people to be foster parents.
That's fake news.
There is only one. I know of only.
Fake news, man.
No, it's fake not. News. And in the state of Minnesota,
I wouldn't let you adopt. Look at you.
Even the Republican states like take these motherfuckers.
No, I'm serious. It's state by state, and a lot of it's because. Who's talking?
I think we should do some research.
Renita the froze.
I heard someone talking and nobody's talking.
I like this little shot of her right here, like this.
All right.
Screenshot.
No, it's state by state. And the reason is because a lot of these clinics that do give out adoption are private religious institutions, and they have their religious
Catholic
rights.
Charities, but they ain't the only people to go to.
Allow you to adopt.
This is fake news.
It's difficult. I didn't say it's impossible.
We'll write a whole episode on adoption. And
it's more difficult than a lot of people think. I've looked into it.
All those equal rights.
You going in and out.
I want y'all to have every equal rights. Everything. I want y'all to feel this shit. Feel it.
In and out. So this is a new phenomenon that's been developing. I want to ask about this a little bit, Yvonne. I don't know how you raise your children, but how did you approach finding that balance between preparing them for the real world and protecting them from the real world?
That was hard. I was stuck in between disciplining them like my mama did me and learning that new school parenting thing, and I got mixed results because I didn't know how to do it. I was always at work. Somebody had to provide for the family. And so when you get those type of narratives played into raising children, it gets very difficult for you to choose between being there for them emotionally and being there for them financially. So that's why I say now in hindsight, because we've made it out and we're still not financially stable, but emotionally, we are becoming stable to the point where we can work together and build some unity and community and network and put ourselves on to different things. And that's what I want to teach others how to do, how to move past not having financial money, because that's where a lot of us are stuck at, including my family.
I'm talking about more towards I was just trying to say it without saying it. The helicopter parents, they overprotective, and then,
I went through that.
You got the laissez-faire parents that don't do shit and just let their kids just destroy the whole rest of everybody else, contaminate everybody else's kids. It's got to be a balance between those two.
Yeah, I went through that.
Which one were you?
I was a helicopter parent. Yeah, definitely. We grew up in most of the early childhood. We grew up in Inglewood. So I was hovering, even though sometimes I was at work. I tried to build something where there would be other people around them. But, once I started becoming sick, I got disabled back in 2006. I was really able to stay home with my children. And I took them everywhere. They didn't have to ride the bus. I became that parent. And so as they transitioned into adulthood, it was hard for them to fill out paperwork and some other things because I always did it. And they didn't have to ask nobody else because wasn't nobody else around us to help us. So it was always me. And then it did cause a handicap. I will not lie, it did.
Okay.
So now I had to find a creative balance.
Yeah, my dad's approach is the total opposite. He ain't feeling that shit.
But it goes.
Well, what do you mean? Shoot, my parents were old when I
it's 3 o'clock.
Somebody are they blind? Somebody blind on it? They got it at a time. Called out. Jeepers.
Go ahead, Dad.
People do that stuff.
Go ahead, Dad. You were far from being overprotective. You were kind of like aggressive parent. You would make me wake up even when I was a little kid just to make me walk from sleeping in the car. He wouldn't even carry me to the bed.
Exactly.
It's terrible. He really was like, nigga, you gonna prepare you for the world. I don't know.
At least it woke you up. My family left me in the
sometimes they leave me in the car. You wake up cold and shit lost.
I'm like, what the hell?
Well, that's why when BG came around, BQ came around, we treated him, he got forgotten about a lot because we just did. We had 5 kids. So we counted 5 heads in the car. So I'm thinking, okay, that's everybody. And we get a phone call. We left BQ at somebody's house.
Because somebody else's kid got in the car. Y'all counted 5, but it was somebody else's kid.
Yeah, we did a head count, but we should have
the wrong kid.
We should have had them repeat their name or something, man. Because it's like we forgot him.
That was because, again, that goes back to like how old you were when you had all these children. Y'all were still in your 20s and 30s,
which is the best time to have kids.
30. I think he was 31. My mom was
I couldn't imagine it. I could not imagine having 5 kids being 34 right now.
But you know what? You get the kids over with at that point. You can enjoy your life. Look, I had kids early and late. Now I'm dad and grandpa at the same time. I got an 11-year-old. So you had your kids late. You will be dad and grandpa. My parents was old as hell taking me to school. That's why I had to learn how to sign my own school stuff.
Now this is where you are different. You are a goddamn helicopter parent with the last one, and you was laissez-faire with the rest of us. Like,
yeah, because I realized what the social stuff can do to kids. So I protect the hell out of them. It only takes one summer. One summer with the heathen, it's over. It don't need no whole lot of time to corrupt nobody. It just takes a couple of weeks of corruption, and you could destroy 18 years of work that you put into that child. It can be destroyed in one summer. So
if you helicopter them for 18 years, they go to college and they corrupt it. So what the fuck is the difference?
The difference is they didn't bring no freaking babies home. That's the difference.
You know what? I will say though, as a kid, I think I was helicoptered as a kid. I will say, like, I think it has done. I think like being helicoptered as a kid is a big reason why I have really bad anxiety. I remember my mom would make me. She'd like go in and ask for this, and I legitly was mortified to go in to ask people for things that I didn't know.
Helicopter, she's actually preparing for
but before, because my mom did everything. Oh, like literally everything. So she did everything.
You was a lazy kid.
I was a scared kid.
Every kid was like, but every kid go through that. Like,
I was scared. But when I went to
he wasn't helicoptered, Mally. He wasn't helicoptered. He was attached to his mom.
She put
because he was no. He was trying to get out of work. Where everybody else was doing work, he go suck up under his mama. That's what happened. Where's Cass? He's sitting in the car with Karen.
No.
Yeah.
She would pick them up from school and do all of that stuff. She helicoptered them starting out.
Even to this day, like I know that I could go to my mom and she will figure it out. She'll figure out the situation.
Yeah.
But that impeded me a lot as a young adult. And even like now that I'm getting out of it, learning how to do things for me and learning how to be independent and learning how not to like really like I have siblings that really pull on my mother a lot with a lot of things. And that was something that I have really tried hard not to do because again, I've seen my mother now as a person and not just as this kind of this, she likes to call herself Superwoman. I'm like, you're not Superwoman. You're a person. You have feelings. You have needs. You have desires. You have these things. Mm-hmm. And when you tie yourself up into like being everything for everyone, you lose yourself. And so like a lot of it for me when I went to college was a lot about self-discovery and like finding myself. And which is why I'm 34 with green hair and acrylic nails, because I'm just now finding myself and experimenting with myself.
You should have kept helicoptering your ass.
Doing things no, because I think that kind of
might have married a woman.
I think that was and then divorced her when I was 50 and came out as a latent homosexual with 3 kids.
Or maybe worse, like Bruce Jenner.
Exactly. Thank God I did it. Because in my teens, I was so engulfed in the church and so engulfed in doing everything right. And like Qantas was saying, it only takes a couple of weeks. It took a few days in Boys Town to corrupt me, and look at me.
I told you.
But I think it's important because what happened was I lived in this bubble for so long that when I could go outside of it, I just wanted to do everything.
You still in a bubble. Look at you. You living in a bubble right now.
I'm just getting out of it. I'm going through a divorce, and now I'm just starting to do everything.
You're in a literal bubble, guys. You are a bubble.
Shut up.
What you say? Go ahead, Renita.
My mother was totally different. She did this stuff by this Dr. Spock book where it let the kid make all the decisions.
Oh, God.
Yes, I swear to God. Because she was like, oh, you want to smoke cigarettes? Don't smoke a cigarette. Then eventually, what the fuck? She said it's okay. Now it's not cool to do no more. You know? I didn't want to do shit that was cool to do because she said go do it. Ah, fuck her. I don't want to drink. I don't want to do none of that. No, really. And that's how she did it. I had no curfew. You know when I went in the house? When the other kids went in the fucking house. I had no curfew. It was no, she if you didn't want to eat this, you could eat breakfast for dinner for breakfast. And then when I grew up, I'm that person that didn't start smoking weed till like I started working somewhere where I needed to.
Wow.
That's the same. I didn't start smoking.
For real, my mom was so cool. My mom was that parent that everybody wanted. They was like, oh, your mom is so nice. I was like, I barely see this motherfucker. She's at work all the time. I'm head of household.
But that's what Gen X was too.
Right. They was like, your mom. My mom was so cold-witted, Bonnie. My mom got her tubes tied. I was born in 69. She got her tubes tied back in the day because then back in the day, you could tell them you had thousands of children. They never checked.
Wow.
County was tying tubes like that.
I did not know that.
If you do the research, county was tying tubes on people. It's a big lawsuit without them even knowing.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say because that stuff happened a lot where they sterilized Black women. Mm-hmm. That's what it was.
Yep. But my mom
Fatty
was
Lou
down
Hammer
for
was
it.
sterilized. Mm-hmm. They did it
my
on
mom
her.
was down for the sterilization. She was like, fuck that shit. Fool me once. Shit. No.
You're the only child? Renita?
Yes.
But my mother, yeah. Well, my mom was the only child, had a household.
Her daddy got kids living next door to her.
My daddy got kids. You was like, we the same, man. We ghetto twins. My daddy was getting down with the get down.
Don't your sister live next door to you?
I got several sisters that live near me.
How many do you have, Renita?
Let's see, since this is gonna be live and he might see it. It's only 4 of us. And that other lady kids that he introduced us to, them just our play cousins.
Don't do no. You know, I talked to my grandfather. I said, Grandpa, let's do a 23andMe. He's like, no. This man was in his 70s and had a child come out of the woodwork at 40. I'm like, this man just popping kids out of, they coming out of the woodwork.
We got a, what is it called? We got a chat room with the sisters and brothers in it and shit. And so my dad announced that my mom, who I call my mom, my stepmother, and him are getting a divorce. Now they in their 70s.
What the heck?
My grandfather did that too.
I'm like, you what?
Why?
They sign papers and shit. Here I go. The fuck? And so in the chat room, they don't think I'm funny at all. So I put it in there. I'm going to live with mom. Where y'all going? We old as fuck. Everybody on Social Security, and y'all getting a divorce. They doing too much.
All right. Let's play. Let's do some fun. I wrote a rank it segment. I want you to rank these. These is not primary, secondary types of parent. I don't even know what to call this.
What is it? Primary, secondary?
Okay. Rank them by difficulty. No, I don't even know what to call it. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Okay.
Grandparenting, step parenting, foster parenting, godparenting, and pet parenting. We'll start with Nadi.
Difficulty?
Yeah, which one is the easiest one to be? A grandparent, a step parent, a foster parent, a godparent, or a pet parent?
And
a godparent.
Rank them.
Step. You said grand, step. What else?
Grandparent, step parent, foster parent, godparent, pet parent.
A godparent's the easiest to be, in my experience.
rank them, that means you gotta go.
You gotta rank. I just put them all in the thing for
You
you.
can't ask somebody
To rank
like
them.
to just do that.
I put them all in the chat, Nandi, so you can.
I'm looking at them. I'm looking at them.
Nandi's high.
No, I don't have good working memory. That's part of my disability. So you're just gonna say a list of things and I'm forgetting it.
We got
I would say a godparent's the easiest, then grandparent, then pet parent.
I've seen some dope godparents that do a lot of shit though. So
Pet parent, and then step parent, and then foster parent is the hardest.
Foster? You can send them back.
That doesn't mean it's hard.
Foster doesn't mean you adopted them. You
Clearly
can send them motherfuckers right back. You can be like, yo, nope.
Clearly it was difficult.
Also, do that too.
I don't think that's the easy thing.
I think foster parenting would be the hardest too, because you're not attached to them. Now you got to stick with them till at least you get the first check.
I would actually think I would think step parent is the hardest and grandparent is the second hardest. But
why?
Step parent?
Yeah.
This motherfucker, this your spouse come with a kid, and this kid might gonna hate you.
It depends on how old they
that
are.
shit's difficult as hell. Step parent got to be the hardest shit ever.
Yeah.
No, it depends on how old they are at the time of y'all creating the union.
Unless the wife died from the previous marriage or the husband died from the previous marriage, and the kids is don't remember that parent, they like toddlers. That shit's hard. Them kids gonna hate.
Yeah, I think step parent. Step parent are probably
not every step parent is as involved because they're married to the partner and not concerned with their relationship with their child.
If it wasn't for my stepmama, I don't think I'd have known my father. Shit.
Pet parenting is hard too.
Pet
That's
parenting,
why I put
yeah,
that. Like,
it's too.
I know some godparents that go like they be paying for like everything for the kids. So I don't know.
I don't know nothing about that. I've never seen.
That's just some good godparents. But godparents is the one you really don't gotta do.
Okay, but like
to the
only godparents I could see doing stuff like that is like their godparents because they chose not to have their own kids.
Right.
They're really involved. But like
I seen them with their own kids, and then they raise their kids with the other kids. Like I seen some real good godparents. Like they really.
Yeah, well, that's an exception.
Black people choose the godparent by who brought the best fucking gift at the baby shower.
Yeah.
Godparents suck. Don't let nobody's parents die, because then you got.
You know when you fuck up with the godparent, when you assign the godparentship to the to a close friend that's your same age and you young and had the baby. Nah. Go for somebody like a decade older than you. They got you. They got you. Yeah.
I thought the whole purpose of a godparent was if something happened to the parent.
I ain't talking about that Catholic godparent.
No, you know what I learned in my adulthood? So my godparents are people who offered to adopt me from my mom.
Oh, okay.
So like my mom definitely wasn't expecting me. She didn't find out until like 4 or 5 months in. And she like, so the people who she made my godparents at that time were like, we'll adopt her because we're having trouble having our own kid. But I don't know.
I don't even know if I got
that. Was weird to find out after, they've always been.
Qantas,
I'm like,
Qantas, hold on. Now I'm questioning. Qantas, who the fuck are my godparents? I never met them.
This pause. I don't like this pause.
I don't have none. Okay.
No,
I think we had them like when we were younger, because I think mine was one of my teachers.
What?
Yeah, I think we had them. Yeah, because at the mansion we have a very interesting family dynamic at the mansion.
Pull your shirt down, Cass. Get the wrinkles out.
You want?
There you go. Looks better. No, don't.
Now we see the flap.
No, I think for us, we had godparents when we were younger, like Miss Carr and stuff for me and like Miss Angie. But like as I've gotten older.
Wait. You just taught me something different. So you can have 2 women godparents and they don't have to be a man and a woman?
15. You can have multiple
sets. Guess. Yeah.
I don't know how it works. I never had any.
I don't really know how this stuff works. I'm not traditional.
The godparent is supposed to be the person that helps guide your child to heaven.
That's what a godparent
is.
really
Really? Is that what's supposed
Yes,
to be?
they are supporting.
I'm not talking
the
about
parent.
like Catholic godparents. I'm talking about like black.
But that's where the
godparents.
concept came from. Is like a familial
I
support.
thought it was
your
just
child.
if your parents
But that
died.
has evolved into something
Obviously,
else.
it's more of a like colloquial, like you're very involved, but I think it's more of like an ego thing for adults before the baby even
Well, if
gets
the
there.
job is to guide the kid to the heaven, then godparenting must be hardest because motherfuckers ain't gonna listen. So wait, do the godparent go to a lower tier of heaven if they don't guide the kid to heaven?
No, they're just delegated by the real parents to help. I don't think they get punished in heaven.
I thought it's like some punishment, like use a bad parent. You can't use a bad godparent. Now you got to go to hell or something.
But that's a different role in the black community. That would be a spiritual father or mother. That's something different.
So that's what my
spiritual father. Ain't that what
like,
dude was to R. Kelly? Pastor Meeks, right? He's a spiritual advisor.
I know.
He wasn't a good one. Look, R. Kelly ended up in jail.
He was a bad seed. That's right. They should have took him back to the factory.
He made some real good music.
R. Kelly?
What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, he's making good music in jail. They call him
some emotional support. That's what he needed.
He's doing many concerts in prison.
He was a bad seed.
He's doing video concerts with women. R. Kelly's making room for him in prison.
I think.
Hey man, he like, I need some commissary.
Look, he gonna
put some on his books.
Yeah, he probably made a song called Commissary and put some on my books. He could probably
Martha Stewart went to prison, came out richer than she was when she went in.
That was fake prison. She went to the same prison that
she went to Club Fed. That's a little different.
Yeah, she went to Club Fed.
Yeah, no. So, did anybody else want to rank it? Yvonne,
I'll rank it.
You can rank. Okay, go ahead, Cass.
I was gonna say the easiest is grandparent.
Grandparent?
Yeah, I think that's
grandparent. I don't.
That's as long as the kid, as long as the parent ain't a crackhead. If not, then the grandparent is primary.
Second is step.
That's a lie.
No, second is godparent. Third is step. Fourth is foster. Last is pet. I think being a pet parent is hard because you cannot communicate with these motherfuckers. You sit there having a whole damn conversation, and they're gonna look at you like you crazy, and then gonna do something else. That's
only one bad part about pets. They don't grow the fuck up.
Right here, she's sleeping. She wanted to jump all around.
That's hard, man.
No, it's not.
And you gotta literally beat them into submission. It's like being a slave master.
You gotta beat regular kids. What are you talking about?
No, you don't gotta beat regular kids. You can talk to regular kids.
You can't. You see that thing?
I ain't talking about like hurt them, but like you gotta.
I think who put that on the page about that woman that made her kid stand up?
That was me.
That
parent was fed up.
That kid who kicked that kid who kicked that grandma.
That he need to be beat. The one that kicked the grandma.
Your mom beat me, Dad, and your auntie. They jumped me.
Grandma did, yeah, because you were acting.
But that's what they did. My mom used to hit me with shoes, frying pans, glasses, hammers.
She didn't do all that with me. They jumped me though. They almost killed me.
My dad broke my nose when I was 16.
Oh wow.
Well, I should obey the rules.
You say you should obey the rules?
Yeah, I came in the house.
What rules did you break to get hit like that?
Curfew. So he said,
you came home the next
day. I came
day.
in the house. My mom said, your dad is in the kitchen waiting for you. And I went in the kitchen and he said, so you think you've grown now? And I said something smart. And then he hit me in the nose and broke my nose.
I said something smart and got sat on.
Yeah,
broke my nose.
You said something beyond smart. You cursed at your mom.
And got sat on. My face turned black and blue, broke every blood vessel in my face.
My nose.
I witnessed it firsthand. I was like, damn, man.
This was before the gas.
That was the first and last fight I had with my dad. That was it. And it wasn't a fight. It was a fight.
Boys are a little different. You got to get a bit more physical with boys. I believe so. Especially if you're a mama, like that shit don't hurt no boy. My mama jumped on me once. It don't really hurt.
No, I think
it hurts your pride. I think it don't really hurt you physically.
I think that I would have responded better to empathy and conversation than physical violence. It took me a long time not to fear. I like literally
what you did, Mally, with your nephews.
It took me a long time to not fear my father. I was literally afraid of him for a very long time.
The oldest one?
Yep.
Yeah, but we was both adults. He was an adult when I hit him. It was two men
16,
squaring up.
That's adult. A 16-year-old boy is adult to me.
It was two men squaring up. He was 21 when I hit him. But,
boys don't grow up until they're like 24.
Nah, he was just a little disrespectful. No, that's
a 16-year-old boy that's in high school and playing sports is a man.
I will say this: I've had better results talking to my brother and cousin than I have fighting with them, and I think the reason why I have struggled with my anger and fighting in general, because I have been violent towards my siblings and family members. I mean, even towards Qantas, actually.
You really gonna go there, Cass? You really gonna go there?
I pushed you down.
You suplex. We was both.
I just said I've been violent, but I've said the moments that I've actually like reached my brother, like actually had a bond and a understanding.
He's scared the hell of you.
Yeah, was this moment hold on, Grant. Was this moment pre or post violence?
What? Pre-violence.
So you had the moments broke
even with my cousin, my nephew cousin.
Wait. Time out. These are some lies being spewed from. Are you from the layer of Cass?
I said I was physical. I said, but
your breakthroughs came pre-violence. Stop it.
BQ said our mom hit him with a fishing pole.
I didn't say they breakthroughs. I said I've had before I left to the military, my relationship with my younger brother was really good, and I had not been physically violent towards him. When I got back from the military, that's when we started getting physical, and then I asked for later in life. I started asking for. It's not selective amnesia. Before I went in the military, I was really me and my younger brother had a good relationship. A real good relationship. And then when I have been physical, I've had to ask for forgiveness.
I will say when men get physical with each other, it's different.
I think physical abuse leaves a lot of scars. Like I said, it took me well into my adulthood to not be afraid of my father. Like I was mortified of my father growing up. And I remember one time I had came out to my dad and he had said some really awful stuff to me and had punched me in my chest. And I was like, I'm not going to fight. I'm just going to all it was in my mind is that I'm supposed to love my parent. And it took a long time and a lot of healing and a lot of conversation to get to a place of forgiveness and healing. And that's one thing that I'm learning about myself. And one thing that I wish is that I didn't have that anger is contagious and that abuse is contagious. And I wish I didn't have that. I have done things that I'm ashamed of that I have done. I wish that I would have done things differently.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a father-son on here right now.
Mm-hmm.
Did I ever whip you?
As a child, no.
Did I whip your brother?
Sometimes.
Did you see me whip your sisters?
It was really rare. I don't think he whipped. He didn't really whip. He don't.
Now most people would think I'm a whipper. I'm not. I'm not a whipping person.
He had a fight with me when I turned 18.
You a yeller though, but I think
other than that, nothing as a child.
A lot of people underestimate how yelling is extremely traumatic.
He ain't really yell at us. He is a crybaby. Our dad always cry. I know. It's
always
I'm sorry, I couldn't be there for you, Dig. And he just started crying and shit. And then I would give that to both of my parents. Both of my parents allowed us to talk and express ourselves, even if they disagree with us.
That's literally what I just said.
And that's rare. That's rare.
I literally just said that. I would have responded differently to my parents if they would have talked to me more. And both of y'all know the kind of household I grew up in, with a lot of yelling, a lot of breaking, a lot of everything going on.
You know, Qantas has his riff moments, but he comes he'll get into his yell moment, but he's gonna come back crying and apologizing less than before the day is over. Usually,
I'm talking about my household, my upbringing, and that stuff for me. Even to this day, if someone yelling is Yelling is hard, and it's something that I'm trying to get out of doing and getting my anger under control because I grew up in a household full of anger.
You have two parents in your household?
When I was little,
yeah, all us started. Both of us started out with kids until our parents divorced around like what were we like 4th grade?
10.
I did kindergarten.
So that gives you a good play. You got 2 adults in the household. My mom, it was just my mom, and we had my dad had joint custody. So that gave me some leverage as a kid to say what I wanted to say because I had like this outside parent, and the 2 of them were battling, and they would do it in front of me. A reason why I never argue in front of Drew right now. Yeah. But they would do that, and it gave me leverage. I kid you not. I swole up at Edie one time, and she hit me in my fucking chest so hard I could barely call. I was like, I was trying to grab air and get it back into my chest, and I called my father. That's all he needed. That's all he needed. So he came over to get me, and I'll never forget this. He was calling her a pack of bitches, and he mad, and he was giving my daughter. I'm going with my daddy. I grabbed my bag. Sure as my name is Renita, that motherfucker dropped me off at his mama house.
I spent a lot of time at my grandmother's.
Swear, just to get mad at her, and then my grandma, and then now you as a child, you dumped off at your grandma's house. There's a bunch of other dump kids there too, and they like, how Renita get here? And my grandma on the phone, this boy done dropped this motherfucking girl. Now I feel all like, damn, I'm an only child at my mama's house. I got my own room. So I'm over here eating out a cereal bowl with another nigga.
So you thought your dad had custody? You was smiling.
Man, Quantas, I flexed on Edie, boy, not again. It took 2 days there at that fucking house with me sharing cereal bowls with people. I said, okay, look, I'm sorry, Ma. Can you come get me? She said, hell no. Get your ass back home. How the hell you got that?
Like, that's real.
It depends on that man that you fucked. Oh, damn. You should have seen me. I was like 7 years old trying to figure out a bus route.
I know that's right.
I mean,
how it happens.
You can't make this shit up.
Yeah, and you bring up a valid point. I had it written down over here, like on the difference between a single parent home, a 2-parent home, a multi-family home. Like a lot of people don't even realize, like, okay, if a lot of people that had them kids early, like you say, you got to share cereal bowls and shit, and it's a multi-family home, and you trying to this sibling,
everybody
this sibling, this sibling. You sharing a room with your mama. You sharing a room with your mama. This kid sharing a room with their mama, and it's a little different. And then this parent got to make a little bit more of their job, and they bought their kid this, and they get mad if your kid wear these clothes to multi-family homes. Whew. They can get chaotic.
That's one thing that I love about my mother. My mother never had a man move in with us. Not never. Not motherfucking never.
That's another.
I had a lot of uncles, but not never.
I want to ask y'all a question real quick, if it's okay. When because we used to have a lot of cousins come over. I don't think I made a difference. Like if, say for instance, Kaz and them came over, and then we got to go buy food. I actually saw people buy different stuff because it's their kids versus the kids that's visiting. Do y'all believe in that? Because I don't. I want to get
okay.
Like what?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's break that up into 2 things. Okay, so that could be if they actually live there and the kids are not visiting them, maybe that might be a little bit explanatory.
No, visiting. Just kids visiting.
No, I'm just saying. So if you're in like one of them multifamily households and this person lives there and they trying to save up some money and they can only afford certain stuff for their kids, and they just visiting the grandmother's house, but the other parent live there, that's a little complicated. But if those kids are visiting that person's home and it's like a 2-parent or single parent home, no, you shouldn't discriminate, in my opinion. Go ahead, anybody else?
Yeah. Just like when you know what I'm talking about, Kaz.
My uncles and especially my mother made a big deal out of treating everybody equitable.
Yep.
And I think if she was saving money, she wasn't going to showboat with her kids and not showboat with the others. We all going to eat something that's the same. You know, we all doing the same thing. And I think I appreciate that growing up. And I think that's where I get a lot of my beliefs about equity. and being equitable.
Yeah, even in Monopoly.
Even in Monopoly. No, but like even my grandmother and my great aunt, all of us would be over there. We'd all have to scrape up goddamn pennies, get a cab. Sis would take us, put us all in the cab, and do it. The way that my family used
movie theater.
The way that they used to do special stuff with different cousins and kids would be that you would only take those kids out. The girls would go with grandpa, the boys would go with grandma. You would split them up and you would do certain special things with them, but you would never, ever, if we're all in the same room, you would never treat these kids different from that. They were really good, even in all the chaos that I grew up in, they were really good at making sure everyone felt kind of equal. I
said that because I seen some modern people doing it, Cass. I've seen modern people have company and buy only their kids stuff while the other kids who are visiting.
That's fucked up.
That's not cool to me.
Yeah, but
and that even stranger, I think that may be a generational thing, because even when I would go over strangers' house, because I would feel bad. Like I remember being poor. Like I go to summer camp. I used to think Subway was expensive. I saw these people eating the Subway. They got $20. But me and my brother would go to the camp. My mom would give me and my brother the same amount of money, and we would come up with a way to make it work for both of us. And I remember we bought that Monopoly game. I had $20, he had $20, and we decided to put the $20 together to get the Monopoly game so that we could all share and play it. Of course, he kept it because he was more organized.
And he should have kept it.
Yeah, he's responsible.
And he was responsible, but it was our game. Like it was our game, and like that was out of all of the craziness that I grew up with, I appreciate that the most, and I learned from that the most, because that has taught me as an adult not to look down on people.
At the same time, I do think is like this specific scenario Grant is talking about. That's kind of messed up, but I will say some kids do need special attention. Like this kid sitting here autistic, you got to deal with them a little different, right? This kid over here, girls get periods. You got to deal with them a little bit different about that kind of stuff, right? And then so it is some differences in kids. So,
but that's why we have one-on-ones.
You can be equitable, yeah. But like you should, like you say, take that shit to the side and you go deal with that, whatever that individual kid is going through on a different level. Because some kids need, another thing, like you as a kid, you need way more attention than probably Todd. So like
that's another thing. We used to have, my mom used to take us on one-on-ones, and me and her would just go do something. She would do one thing, one-on-one with Carly, one-on-one with my other brother. That was the way that you were able to meet each other's needs, by taking them. It wasn't, you didn't do it in front of each other. You didn't make someone, it was like, I'm not going to give you food and let you not have anything. And I think that's where I get my attitude about that from. But like, if I did something special, I took you out of the room with them and did it. And not only that, you knew you were going to get a turn coming up. This month was your brother's turn. Next month is your turn. Right. That's one thing I appreciate.
Well, we're running out of time, guys. We're running out of time. So
we got something from the woke report.
Yeah, we're finna let her do the woke report if she got one. But because we're running out of time today, because it's already 3:30. So we're gonna do the woke report with Nadi.
Hey, Nadi wanted to say something. Let her get
okay, well, she's finna say it after we do our list. I'm gonna announce what we're gonna do. The woke report with Nadi, the art of Black psychology, and the comedic relief. Then we wrap up. Go ahead, Nadi.
Oh, I was gonna say in response to what Cass said, I have a cousin who has made it a rule for her kids to never be disciplined with food-related things, because that that connection of your emotions to food and that being taken away is really disturbing later in life. It gives them the sense of scarcity too. Like I'm never gonna make my kids feel like we can't, even if we can't do it, I'm not gonna withhold them from saying like, oh, I feel like eating and I need to eat right now. But I see a lot of people kind of like use like candy or, a food that their child likes in the world of disciplining them, and that is uncomfortable to watch.
Food trauma is I think is why I have issues with food today.
Yeah.
I experienced a lot of food trauma. And it wasn't necessarily people withholding food from me. It was like other people would get in trouble if everyone didn't eat their food. So I became the garbage disposal. So I would eat all the food so we didn't get disciplined, so we wouldn't get spanked or whipped. Or I'll go to my grandma's house and I'm depressed. She gonna make me something nice and special. That's the food. Or I go to my mom's still at work, so I go to Miss D'Amato's house 2 houses down, and she makes me, it's probably where I got my UK fanatics from. She makes me these little English muffins, a little lady from England, and feed me. And I was taught, if you go to somebody's house, you don't refuse the food. So I might have been full, but I was gonna keep on eating. I remember being little and I would throw up in the middle of the night because I ate too much.
That's body autonomy. You're telling your child that they don't have autonomy over how they eat. And so as an adult, they don't make good decisions about how they eat.
I scream about it now when I see it. Like if I see someone yelling at a kid to eat this, I'm like, don't do that, because you're creating food trauma, and that's going to affect their relationship with food one way or another.
But so I was also going to say, in terms of like being treated differently, I was an only child until I was 12 going on 13. And so the age difference between my sister and I didn't get to do collaborative things with her. She was an infant. A lot of people thought that I was 13 with a child because she was born so different from me. But then also, I think a lot of people were trying to put this bug in my ear that my stepdad would love her more because it's his biological child, and that I would be treated differently. And it wasn't that I observed, but it was more so like realizing that my sister is getting a whole different version of my parents. They're in a new tax bracket. They're now from, 20s, 30s, and 40s. So this is a whole new them, and they can't treat her how they treated me. But like, that was something I immediately noticed, was like, oh, y'all are letting her just get away with not eating anything. And my sister's a picky eater. But my mom is also a picky eater who has food trauma and is not trying to put that on my sister, whereas I was eating all the time. We were never lacking in food. I definitely went to a lot of people's places to eat food, and I was always encouraged to try it. And like, that's just not conducive to how somebody's going to grow up and make decisions. Anyway, the woke report. I wanted to talk about International Women's Month because it's almost over, and women are better than everything on this earth, particularly Black women. And there's been a lot of like conversation about this new Supreme Court person being the first Black woman, and generally like the Crown Act, and like I feel like that's driving conversation about women and how they're perceived professionally. So something that I've been taught recently is to use more affirmative language. And so like women tend to minimize what they're requesting by saying like, oh, could you just, or do you mind? Like there's ways to assert yourself and acquire what you need from a situation in a way that has like assertive language about it. So it's been really confusing for me because I feel like women grow up to learn how to be a caregiver, and then you come into the world and you're expected to dominate and be on top of everything. And that's kind of two different worlds from a caregiver. But I've noticed that when I speak and I'm asking for things, or even my friends, like women apologize a lot. Oh, I'm sorry. Like that's something that is kind of like weakening our communication skills. So I feel like that kind of tied in with the topic because that comes from how you talk to your kids as a parent and how they're allowed to talk to you. I think we talk more about how kids talk to their parents and not more about how you learn to communicate as an adolescent.
Okay.
And I can agree, Nadi, with what you said. When we talk about, parenting, and all of its imperfection, there is some outlet in a way of becoming a village, and building bridges. And one of those things is allowing, children to speak and giving them autonomy to say things because here's the thing, children are going to find out one way or the other. So would you want that information to come from outside or inside? Is how I looked at it. And so I told my children, I never wanted anybody to say that I didn't tell them anything, or I didn't give them, the sauce, as people say these days. And so I'm very transparent. Anything they want to know, I tell them. And even my grandson, he asked me some very difficult questions. He's very emotionally intelligent. And so, of course, I don't give it to him like I give it to an adult. I bring it down to his level so that he can understand that, it's not okay to do certain things. And we use our words, not in anger, but just in discussion. It's communicating. And he communicates well for an 11-year-old. And now we're teaching the same thing to my granddaughter, and she's 2. And so even though she can't fully talk now, she can express herself. And she does it very well. We don't call it a tantrum. We call it an expression of how it is she chooses to identify the emotions that she's feeling, and then if she does something that we don't like, we just redirect her. Does it take patience to do that? Absolutely. It takes all of us to do it. It's not just her father. It's not just her mother. She has aunties, uncles, and she has me. Even some friends, we all chime in to redirect her. Why? Because we need her to understand that we're all part of a village. And in order for us to become a village, we do have to learn how to ask questions and express ourselves. It's really hard to do when you haven't done it from the beginning. And I can say without a shadow of a doubt, I did not teach my children how to do that. Now that we're entering this phase where we do have these tough discussions, it makes change for the next generation. We don't have to suffer and blunder through the same things that we did before. Being very honest and transparent is where a parent should be. So if you're frustrated with your child, say that, but do it nicely. Don't hurt their feelings. Same thing with a child. If the parent is doing something that, you don't quite understand, just ask questions. Now, some parents don't like being questioned. So how do you get around doing that? You start expressing how they're making you feel, being vulnerable in their space, even if it does require some tears sometimes. That's what I didn't learn how to do as a child because I wasn't able to communicate like that. But now that I am, I do have these discussions with my parents. And even though we can't change anything, what happens is we change the future. When we get those background stories of why parents did some of the things that they did. For me, my answer was I didn't know any better. Because the things that I did know better, I did those things. I didn't make the same mistakes that my parents did, but I did make mistakes because we're not perfect. So in parenting, it does take a village. And if parents need some help, ask for it. If children need some help talking to their parents, it's just some questions. And again,
you just
ask
made a
for
question
it.
pop in my head. So how transparent should parents be with children? Since you said,
I say be very transparent as possible. Your experiences, they're yours for a reason. And when your child asks for those type of experiences, don't lie to them. Tell them exactly what they're going to get. Just like I told my daughter.
In the sense of, okay, if the lights and stuff going to be turned off and all of that, should you make the kid go to school and worry about that? Like, why should they have to know? So, should they have to know every struggle that the parent is going through? I'm like,
if they ask, why not?
Yeah, they're gonna ask, but they're not gonna wake up in the morning and immediately, unless there's something that's impacting them already. It makes sense for them to know.
I only ask because I know some parents that are extremely private with their children, and the kids don't know shit. And I know some parents that probably, in my opinion, share too much with kids. Like they don't need that worry on them. To me, in my opinion,
right.
I
don't think they need all that worry on them, right?
Yeah, so it's a balance. Like they should know some stuff, but
that's what I'm saying. But if they ask, that's something different. Then that means that they've noticed it. If they haven't noticed it, then it's okay for you not to say nothing. But if they see it, like if I get up in the morning to turn the lights on and it don't come on, you know, of course I'm gonna go ask questions. I open up the refrigerator, the light don't come on. You know what I'm
saying? No, it's a blackout in the neighborhood.
Yeah, it's a blackout. We're going to grandma. No, I know parents. I know old school traditional parents that'll be like, it must have been a blackout in the neighborhood. We're gonna go to grandma's house and we're gonna play with candles right now, and then we're gonna go to grandma's house.
Play with candles right now.
They're gonna go try to figure it out and not put that burden on that kid. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think you're putting a burden on your.
It's just the truth.
You can tell the truth.
Because what happens when they find out later that it wasn't a blackout?
Who telling them?
They ask their friends. These are new age children. These are new age children. They're gonna ask.
You know why I think that's like a bad rule sometimes? Because a lot of times these kids go to school with too much on their mind already.
Yeah,
you got to deal with school. You got to deal with all those little kids' attitudes in that school. And if you're one of those kids who don't make friends easily, you shouldn't have to go to school with your whole parents' relationship on your mind because they've been up all night fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, just some things kids should know.
But that's some of their reality.
You know what? At my age, it was never important. And I promise you, I know our lights probably went out. I know our lights went out a couple of times. Do you think Edie told me that shit? I didn't have her motto is this, bitch, you can't help me with the bills. Why am I telling you about it?
Yeah.
The fuck? We going to granny house or you go to granny house. I'm gonna be good right here.
My parents,
you got them parents that make their kids are the therapists or something. I'm like,
I am not about to be worried about why
therapist.
we ain't getting rent.
No, I think so. There's a difference in communicating with someone that is asking for information and being respectful enough to acknowledge them as an individual to tell them. Because the reality of it is, you tell me it was a blackout, I'm going to go to school and ask my friends, did you experience a blackout?
Exactly.
And when I find out
and they gonna probably say, yeah,
if
but
my mama ever worked
week.
at a strip club and I questioned it, she should say no.
When I find out that they didn't,
I don't want to know that shit as a kid.
You bring something, you bring it down to their level and explain it to them. Because the reality of it, the reality
what was the note
of
on the door for? What was the note on the door? Y'all want to go to school thinking that we might not have a place to live.
But
when I come home, I want to live right here.
I think you do more harm.
Yeah, my mom would do. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Yeah, don't go to school.
My parents were extra transparent with me about sex at a young age, but it was age appropriate. Because
sex I can see, ain't no bars.
You know, a lot of other kids around me, they had both parents, and so their explanation for existence was just they're both parents getting together. And so, at a young age, kids who had never experienced a single parent household would wonder, like, how are you around if you don't have a dad? And I'm like, I have one. You don't know him. He's not around me often. But I had a concept of like, oh, sex is the thing that happens that creates people. And I didn't know anything about it, you know, until I was older. But I feel like my mom did a pretty good job of explaining those things to me in a very age-appropriate way and like teaching me the real anatomical words for your parts and stuff like that. But
I was left in the dark about a lot of stuff. And I think that created for me, it not only created it for me, it created, because when do you talk to your children? You're never going to talk to your children about those struggles, about how to finance your money, about those things. So they grow up eventually and never learn about it. And then when they experience, and this was the thing that I was thinking about like kids, and like when we get very frustrated with a child, or even I get frustrated with a dog, we don't realize that is the first time that they are touching the door. That is the first time that they are touching food and it feels good. And that's why they want to smash it. That is the first experience that they're having with it. And I think the role of a parent is that I've experienced this. Let me share my experience with you, what I've experienced, so that when you experience, you at least have some context of it. And for me, I had to experience and learn an awful lot. I remember when something big happened and I called both of my parents in tears and I was angry. And I said, I get you were trying to protect me from things, but why didn't you tell me? Because this did not prepare me to deal with this situation. And I was 32 years old. And so I think the more that you choose to hide, you can include a child into a conversation without burdening them, because the reality of it is that's the real world. And if the job of a parent is to prepare a child for the real world, I think you should do that. And you can do that in a way that's not burdening the child. You can speak to them on their level. But the other thing was, it also, when you don't do that, at least for me, it internalized a thing with my self-worth as if I was not competent enough to understand things that were happening around me. And to this day, people choose to withhold certain information from me because I respond, just like you were talking about your granddaughter, how she responds. I am a sensitive person and I respond in a sensitive way. Well, the reality of it is, regardless if you tell me today or if you tell me tomorrow, I will still respond in the same way. You are not protecting me. You are just delaying the inevitable.
Okay. Oh, we're running out of time. But I think some of that also goes back to each child is different. So it depends on the kid, and is the kid ready for that? So exactly. but it's almost 4:00. Let's get close to wrapping this thing up. Did you have anything else to add to, like, Yvonne, to the Art of Black Psychology, or are you good?
No, just follow the page, Art of Black Psychology, join in. I talk about things like this all the time, and I give examples, and, let's just jump into discussion, because everybody's different, and every parenting or childhood that's lived, is also different. And I think these are great conversations that we should have more often.
All right, Renita, anything? Nothing funny to say? No comedic release today? Okay.
No, I'm lost in words. I still disagree with telling a kid everything. I just do. Hey, it's okay. You know what? if you get a chance down at the Jungle Gym, you might want to stay at the park tonight because we ain't got no place to live. You might want to set up residency underneath the slide. This is not a drill. This is not a drill. This will be your home. This is not a fucking drill. If one of your strange friends want you to spend the night in order to eat dinner, I think you should go.
You know what? What's funny about the way you said that? I remember I was reading or watching something. I can't remember what it was, but it was a person. They was homeless and they didn't know because their parent made it seem like they was on the adventures on the train and shit. Like,
yeah. You shouldn't have to worry about them adult problems. They coming. Yeah.
So I understand.
Worry about that.
But when do you sit down and talk to them about what happened? Because what if you experience that adult problem? How do you navigate it?
When do you need to sit down and tell a child your financial situation?
No, I'm not telling you.
You're not having them balance your books.
If I'm a kid and I'm asking, why aren't we sleeping at our house?
Why are we sleeping at our house? Because it was a fire. I'll name anything. I don't want you to burden you and have you all like, oh my God, I went with the wrong fucking parent.
But no, my parents did it in a way where they were honest, but I didn't feel burdened because they were giving me an honest perspective, which allowed me to have a.
But you probably didn't have situations like these other children. These other children got some real situations.
Okay, look, I ain't telling you nothing. If you ain't got no money to help me, it ain't none of your damn business.
Yeah. Oh man, Quintus, as far as I'm concerned, you more than motherfucking.
And it ain't just the kid. I ain't telling nobody nothing that can help me.
I ain't got shit to
I'm with y'all. I keep shit to my motherfucking self.
But the reality,
shit, crawl on the back.
I ain't finna ask. You just a nosy ass kid, and I ain't about to tell you nothing.
The reality of it is, though. The reality of it is the kid has an idea of something going wrong, period.
Let that imagination run, motherfucker.
I'm not finna transfer my problems to a nigga that can't help me.
I'm mad at a motherfucker. You trying to get in my financial situation.
I don't even want to talk about it. When I got problems, I'm not trying to talk about it.
If it was just me,
I'll get out of that new age crap. None of your damn business.
I can be homeless. He the one stopping me from sleeping on somebody's couch because I got to bring his ass with me.
Yeah, I might have to turn a trick or two, which ain't none of your business either.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Well, I think that's where the strategic I don't know comes in. That was another thing.
I'll tell you when you become an adult and I write a tell-all book and I'm ready to make some money off this shit. If this shit can't make money, I'm keeping
it. Like me right now. Like me right now.
This is... No, give me one of them knives.
I think for me, a great example is this.
I never agree with you more, but
for me is this.
Listen, I swear I'm on the same page with you, Quantas. You part of the motherfucking problem.
Exactly.
If I hadn't had your ass, I could probably spend the night at somebody's house.
I think you guys are missing the point. I'm not asking to be all up in your business, but a great example for me is this, without getting too deep into it. When I came out as gay,
if you get a scholarship, I wouldn't have to pay for this school anyway. You making money out, taking money out of my pocket. Nigga, go to school, worry about your shit.
I am worrying about my shit. When I came out as gay and dealing with that eternally,
I knew he was gonna tie that gay crap in there some kind of way.
I ain't nothing worse than a person telling you they hungry and you hungry too. Shut the fuck up.
I'm not talking about food, and I'm trying to give you an example that doesn't deal with finances or food. When I came out,
we were talking about telling kids about finances.
We weren't. We were talking we were talking about being transparent with your children and telling them about things that are arising, that are happening in their life.
I may be the wrong person because I'm all for that t-shirt, fuck them kids.
All I'm saying is when I came out as gay.
All right, we're gonna let Cass finish his final thought, then Qantas, and then we're gonna wrap it up because it's almost 4.
My final thought gonna be real quick because I'm parenting at this moment. This nigga hungry.
Yeah, that's right.
And I got to get him something to eat.
Go ahead, Cass. Final thoughts, Cass.
One of the things that I was trying to say is when I came out as a gay person, one of the things that was withheld from me was that there were gay members in my family. I felt like I was the only gay person in my family. I felt that there was something wrong with me because that information was withheld from me because it was not appropriate to talk to me about. And that's what I'm talking about when you have these authentic conversations. When my life would have been, my adolescent life would have been completely different had I known that there was not a defect with me or that there were other people in my family that I could speak to and reach out to that were dealing with the same thing that I was dealing with. And I wouldn't have felt so alone. And then my final thought on this is, and I try to, in my conversations that I have with my mother and father, is that this is not a referendum on you as a parent. You did the best job that you can do. These are the things that I've experienced. And that's the thing that I would like to close out with. Like, because when I sit down and think about my childhood, it's pretty crazy. But my parents did the best job that they could with what they had. And they did a pretty decent job because I'm here and I'm alive and I'm able to live and do those things. So I think a lot of times when you have these conversations as an adult with your parent and everyone wants to be like, oh, well, we didn't have this issue and we didn't have that issue and you didn't grow up like this and you didn't grow up like that, and kind of you still glossing over stuff because you still don't want to burden your child with this information, but you're making them feel like they're crazy when they know damn well they've experienced these things because you are so focused on you thinking that this is a referendum on you and saying that you were bad. No, you did the best that you can. I'm grateful for it, but this is what I experienced.
All right, Qantas, final thoughts, and let's wrap it up.
Man, that nigga should have been a preacher because he been ready to close for the last 10 years.
Go ahead. That's it?
You're supposed to laugh. Y'all niggas ain't got no lightheartedness.
Go ahead, nigga.
I promise you. I gotta feed my boy.
I laughed at it. It was funny.
I feel like I'm a trans parent at this point. So yeah. I got to go. I ain't got no last one. This boy ready to eat. He about to kill me.
All right.
He done went and took that bread out the refrigerator and made a jelly sandwich. I feel really bad at this point. So yeah, I'm gone.
You've always been a bad parent.
That's the